We have 14 games on the slate for tonight and no definitive top pitcher for today. So we got to dive into this slate, try to see what the top pitcher may be. Honestly, you could talk me into a lot of things for today. So let's chat about it, get set for tonight's slate in MLB DFS. This is the FanDuel Fantasy Q&A. My name is Jim Sonis. I am a senior writer and analyst for numberFire.com, here to get you set for Friday night's main MLB DFS slate. Lock is at 7:05 for tonight. As always, we are taking your questions no matter where you are watching the stream. We'll take questions from YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, no matter where you're watching. Get those questions in. We can talk about pitchers, stacks, one-offs, MLB DFS process, whatever is on your mind on this glorious Friday. Get those questions in. We'll get you set for tonight's slate. Also, make sure you are subscribed on your platform of choice so you get notifications as we go live each and every weekday, 4 p.m. Monday through Friday, 3:30 on Tuesday for our PGA chats with Brandon Gadula as well. So a lot of good stuff here on the FanDuel YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter pages. As mentioned for today, as we take a look at the pitchers for tonight, there isn't really a definitive top arm. The highest salary guy is Carlos Rodon, and he's $11,200. And he's the highest salary guy. I think that he's potentially the most talented pitcher. The problem is he has a pretty rough matchup here with the Kansas City Royals. The Royals, a very low strikeout team against lefties, 20% strikeout rate for them. This is against lefties since the start of last year, as is all this data for the opposing teams here. 20% strikeout rate is a low number. I did use Garrett Cole yesterday against the Astros. That did not go well. And it's not like a situation where I feel burned because I used Cole in that spot. I just think that there are other options we have here. That was a smaller slate, not the best one. Cole, more established than Rodon. That kind of tilts the scales as well. So here, Rodon, just a 4-game sample. He's been tremendous. Really good strikeout numbers. Really good pitch counts for Rodon, too, which is surprising given his injury history. I still feel like we have leeway to go elsewhere. And to me, the elsewhere in this scenario is Jack Flaherty. He is at home and facing the Rockies. That is the exact situation you want at home against a super high strikeout team. The Rockies, a 26% strikeout rate versus righties since the start of last year. The lowest WRC plus on the slate at just 82. And again, Flaherty's at home. It is a bit warmer there today relative to the rest of the slate, 69 degrees in St. Louis, whereas it's generally in the 50s a lot of places. So relative warmth in St. Louis, but I still think Flaherty grades out pretty well. You see here the strikeout numbers, okay, 26% strikeout rate for him so far this year, but he's had a lot of lower strikeout matchups. Of the 6 games he has started, 3 of those have been versus teams who are, whoopsie daisies, I've been logged out. So we're going to log back in over here. I'll have Joy take me off of the screen share, and we'll log back in and get back in the screen share. This is actually the second time this has happened to me, where the screen share. Yeah, you can put me on. There we go. Oh, all right. So we're going to log in here. I guess you'll know how many things are in my password. So I guess the secret's out of that. But hey, either way, we're back in on the sheet here. So the magic of live video broadcast. Either way, I think that for today, if we're looking at Flaherty, the matchups for him have generally been lower strikeout teams. Of the 6 teams he's faced, 3 of them are in the top 7 in strikeout rate versus righties as far as being low strikeout matchups. The Rockies are not that. So Jack Flaherty, I think the strikeout rate will come up, and if it does, he'll be a guy who could definitely take advantage of the matchup he has against the Rockies. Now, a question from Patrick over on Facebook. He's asking what's up with Zach Plesac this year. And Patrick, the answer is, I don't know. Great question. I wish I knew because he's tough a guy to figure out. So let's look at Plesac's numbers here over on Fangraphs. And Plesac, to his credit, has been tinkering, because when you see guys struggling to get strikeouts, you want to see them making changes, trying to diagnose what the issue is, trying to make changes, and trying to improve. Plesac's been doing that. If we look at his past 4 starts, cutting down on his four-seam fastball, going more to his off-speed stuff, and it hasn't worked yet. Overall this year, 18% strikeout rate. In that time with the lower fastball usage, 17% strikeout rate. So it's actually been going the wrong way. He is still getting some whiffs, 11.7% swinging strike rate. Let's scroll down here to his CSW percentage over on the plate discipline data. CSW percentage, 27%. Now, the reason when I say I don't know is because I think he kind of overperformed last year, Patrick. So, like, you look at the strikeout rate last year, we see that his strikeout rate was 28%, but his CSW percentage was about 30%. You would expect his strikeout rate to be a little bit lower. So I think it's a couple of things. I think for whatever reason, the skills have potentially declined a little bit with Plesac. Let's look at his velocity here. His velocity is fine, honestly. So that's not a big concern. The velocity on his slider is actually up a bit. Velocity on his curveball is up too. So it's not that. I'm not honestly sure what's going on. But what I do know, Patrick, is I'm not going to buy low. Because the strikeout rate's low, because the changes he has made have not necessarily led to gains as of yet, I'm not going to buy low. He's facing the Reds. The Reds are a good team. I'm going to keep on waiting on the sideline with Plesac and try to buy low later on. Travis, thoughts on a Tiger stack for today? I thought about it because they're facing Matt Shoemaker. Matt Shoemaker has been hashtag not good so far this year. He has a 5.34 skill interactive ERA, 13% strikeout rate, a lot of barrels. The reason I could not get there, there are two of them. First one is that the Tigers aren't good. The second one is that it is a colder game there, 51 degrees, the first pitch temperature in Detroit. I can stack the Twins because the Twins, even with Buxton likely being out, are a better offense than the Tigers. It's harder for me to get to the Tigers when it's a low temperature and a bad offense. So I think they're in play, I would say, Travis, but they're not a team I actively want to get to because I'm concerned about the duality, the multiple reasons to be low on them. That's kind of pushing me off. Let's get to Alvin here over on YouTube. Ricchidi's been going with his changeup lately and has been getting lit up. Do you like the Blue Jays? Yeah, so I think that I actually have the same one on here for me, Alvin. Let's see the numbers here on Ricchidi. I think this is 3. Yeah, so back to his changeup over his past 3 starts. Oh, actually, so the numbers I have in here. So I looked at his past 3 starts, and the numbers were, like, hideous. And I actually decided to go with the full season as a result of that, because I didn't want to have, like, this, like, glaring red stuff up there for Ricchidi because I don't think he's that bad. Let's look here under the hood, though, a bit more with Ricchidi to see if we can potentially justify going with the Blue Jays, because I'm guessing the reason Alvin is asking is because the Blue Jays are a very good offense. And if we can stack them in a situation where not a lot of people will be on them, there's a lot of upside in that. So I think that the thought process here is good. Let's dive in a bit to Ricchidi and see if we can justify stacking against him. Barrel percentage, 8.7%. Not many ground balls. Again, the strikeout rate low and potentially getting even lower. Swing and strike rate is 9.3%. Let's scroll down here and look at the batted ball data. A lot of fly balls against him. That's pretty concerning. I want to look at the pitch type and pitch. Okay, so his velocity is down a tick. That's concerning. Let's dig into his game logs here and see if the velocity has been trending up as the year has gone along. So a lot of times you will see pitchers who start the year off kind of slow and gradually pick up as the year goes along. Okay, so we're looking here primarily the fastball to get an indication of velocity. It did go up in his most recent start, been up the past couple of starts here. See what he's done from a swing and strike rate perspective. Did get some whiffs against Tampa Bay, but everyone does. It's Tampa Bay. Looking at the game log, 7 shutout innings, 5 strikeouts. So I think, Alvin, I'm probably going to stay away. Let's look at the Statcast. Okay, so he had 6 hard hit balls against him in that game. Actually, not a terrible number given the number of balls in play he let up. So I'm probably not going to get there, but a couple of marks in your favor, Alvin, are that I agree that like he's been struggling quite a bit, and it's a good park, a good environment for hitting for today because everywhere is cold. Texas is not for today. That bodes well. So, Alvin, I wouldn't, like, if your research drew you towards the Blue Jays, I would not talk you out of them. I think that there are reasons to like them. I'm not going to get there myself, but I think that the process that led you to asking that question is a pretty good one. So I would not say no to that personally. DJ, Eduardo Rodriguez, Zach Gallen, Mike Foltynewicz, or Jose Urquidy. I'm avoiding Urquidy. Don't believe Foltynewicz yet, so I'm going to stay out of there. Rodriguez has some weather for tonight. I am worried about that game actually playing between them and the Orioles. Let's say, DJ, though, that you get the read that game will play. I would rank Rodriguez first of that list. He's been really good so far this year. No ill effects for Rodriguez coming back off that missed year last year. I downgrade the Orioles pretty significantly when they don't have Anthony Santander. So no Santander. Rodriguez pitching pretty well. Colder temperatures in Baltimore for today. I would rank Rodriguez number 1 on that list. If we're not going to get him, though, due to the weather, I do think that Zach Gallen works. Pitch count has been up, recently 98, 83, 93 in his 3 starts after his first start coming off the injured list. He's been good, 30% strikeout rate, a lot of walks. That was an issue with Gallen in the past where he would walk too many guys. He made some changes pretty early last year to try to counteract that, and it worked out pretty well. Haven't seen that so far this year. So of that list, I'm going to assume Rodriguez's game is not necessarily good to go, and that would be a concern for me. But we do have Gallen. He's viable, so I'd rank Gallen highest that list unless we get clearance on Rodriguez in that game being okay. Aaron Rasmus says, hello. What's up, Aaron? How's it going? DJ, do you think baseball teams will ever stop using that opener stuff with the pitchers? For example, the Rays. I don't know. I hope, because on FanDuel, we get points for a quality start, and you can't get a quality start if you don't start the game. So I hope it goes away. I don't think it's a terrible idea, though, because it makes sense. You want to have the pitcher avoid facing the 3 best batters on the team. So I get it. I understand why they go there. It's kind of similar to the Giants, where I get it from a baseball perspective. It's annoying for DFS, but I get it from a baseball perspective. So I can't blame these teams for doing so. It does make sense. And for the Rays especially, it has worked out pretty well for the most part. So I can't blame them. From a DFS perspective, it's complicated, but they're not catering to us. So unfortunately, that's the one downside there. Mateo, nice and warm here in New York, so I will use some Yankees. What's the weather situation in Minnesota? Looks like it's 56 in New York, so a little bit chillier, but still not terrible, especially given that other games are pretty cold as well. The Twins are in Detroit for today, which means they're playing in 51-degree temperatures. That's a downgrade for them, but because Tarek Skubal has struggled so much, Mateo, I'm still okay using the Twins. I would note that you were probably asking about rain as well, and there is some rain in Detroit for today. So let's pull up, refresh the weather over here on numberFire, and you'll see that, there's some rain. I was looking at Kevin Ross' forecast on RotoGrinders earlier. He seemed to think that it wouldn't be a big issue. So I believe in him. I trust his weather judgment over mine. So they should be good to play. I would downgrade bats in Detroit as a result of the cold weather, but I still think the Twins specifically are in play for stacking because the matchup with Skubal is so good. Over on Twitch, a Twitch question. All right. Yosh, saw recently the Los Angeles Stadium. This is the best park for home runs split. Left-handed batters, Dodgers or Canning or the Los Angeles Angels pen. So the Angels pen is bad, so I understand going there. I think that Canning is kind of good, though. Specifically, he gets strikeouts. So if we look at the sample here on Canning, let's see what the sample is here. This is, whoopsies. Okay. So he's gotten rid of his curveball, 5 outings for Canning this year, 30% strikeout rate, 3.43 skill interactive ERA. Obviously, the Dodgers are tremendous. They're just lighting up red all across the board here. But because Canning gets so many strikeouts, that lowers the number of balls in play, lowers the upside against him. He is letting up some hard contact, so I don't think it's an outrageous idea. But I think because Canning does such a good job of limiting balls in play by being a high strikeout pitcher, I wouldn't go there, especially on a 14-game slate. If we were talking about a lower strikeout situation or a smaller slate, sure, I would get there. But I respect Canning's strikeout rate. He's kind of had strikeouts in his repertoire for a long time now, so I think it's pretty legit too. So I'd be inclined to avoid for tonight. Peter is asking the right questions here. How about the A's pitcher tonight? I like Sean Manaea quite a bit. I was talking this morning on the podcast about how I was undecided between Charlie Morton and Sean Manaea as my top value play. I think I'm going to go Sean Manaea number 1. I think I've talked myself into it because it's a really, really high strikeout matchup for him against the Rays. The Rays are not bad. They're not a bad offense. They've burned me for stacking plenty of times, but they're not bad. But they strike out 28% of the time against lefties. That is since the start of last year. That's a massive, massive number. And Manaea, as you can see here, good all-around pitcher. 3.49 skill interactive ERA. This excludes his first start because he did make some changes after that first start. He has a 3% walk rate, 5% barrel rate allowed. He's been really good. And he gets enough strikeouts where he can take advantage of this matchup. I had Charlie Morton first initially among the value plays, but after thinking about it more, I just like the matchup so much with Manaea against the Rays that I am going to go Manaea 1 among the values, Morton 2 among the guys below $9,000. So I like where your head's at there, Peter. Think it's a good spot, and I am on board with using Sean Manaea for tonight. Brad, what are your top 2 stacks for tonight? So I mentioned that I changed my mind on the value pitchers. I changed my mind on the stacks as well. I have Houston, number 1 now. I had them number 3 this morning, and I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think I'm not emphasizing weather enough in putting the Astros 3rd versus putting them somewhere else. They're facing Ross Stripling, and Stripling getting some strikeouts this year, but it's a 3-start sample. When you look at his more advanced numbers, like his swing and strike rate, his CSW percentage, he's not getting a lot of whiffs and not getting a lot of non-foul strikes. That's a concern. That to me says the strikeout rate for Stripling will come down as the sample expands. 23% already not that big. So we take that down, it's a major concern. He's letting up barrels, which is something that happened to him last year as well. And I like the Astros. I think they're hitting the ball pretty well right now. So I have shifted the Astros up to number 1 on my stacking list for today. I will keep the Twins number 2. They're facing Skubal, just a lot of struggles right now. So I do think the Twins deserve to be 2. That is under the assumption Byron Buxton does not play. So if he plays, I'd still keep them 2, but I think that would definitely upgrade things. Let's see if the Astros lineup is out yet. I scrolled past it, of course. Nope, it's not out yet, nor is the Twins. But I think I'm going to go Astros 1, Twins 2, White Sox 3. The White Sox honestly drive me nuts trying to stack them because they don't have a lot of hitters I want to use, but also half their team that I do want to use is catcher/first base. So I'm going to keep them 3rd, but they're annoying is the way that I'd phrase that. Their lineup is out here. We got Tim Anderson, Adam Eaton batting 2nd. Okay, so we got the main guys here. The main guys I want to use in the stack are Yoan Moncada, Jose Abreu, and Tim Anderson. Those are the guys I want to turn to most often. Mercedes definitely works. The problem is you're burning your catcher/first base and your utility slot if you go Abreu and Mercedes. And that's kind of tough, especially because I do like Garver, I like Gurriel. I guess Alvin says that the Houston lineup just came out. So let's refresh this here and see if we can get that Astros lineup loaded in for us. Not there yet. So let me pull it up over here on my other computer and see what we got for the Houston Astros. I built lineups early today, which doesn't usually happen, but I'm busy later on. So I got to hope that they actually put the dudes I wanted to use in there. Okay, so we got Altuve, Brantley, Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Correa, Tucker, Straw. So it's exactly what we would have expected. That's good. Okay, so I think based on that lineup, you can build a really fun Astro stack without burning the bank. Let's put Jack Flaherty in there because Jack Flaherty is my number 1 pitcher for today. We're going to go to the Astros here. The lineup will not be loaded in here, but that's okay. We know what it is. I'm going to I know Carlos Correa is batting 6th, and that's a little bit lower, but I actually like a Correa, Kyle Tucker, and I guess to an extent, Yuli Gurriel stack. I could go either way on Gurriel. He's been really good so far this year. I'm not committed to that sticking around. So because I've got some flexibility, let's get a little weird here. Let's go Bregman, and we're going to go Alvarez too. These are the 4 guys I would turn to first within this Astros lineup. So building around the middle part of the order, 3, 4, 6, 7. I think that's a pretty solid stack for today with the Astros. Now, the issue with passing up Jose Altuve is that second base is always kind of bad. We've got Jorge Polanco there. We do have DJ LeMahieu. If you love singles, I don't. I will use him tonight, but it's out of obligation. Altuve benefits from the fact that second base is terrible. So I'm still going to wind up using Altuve a pretty decent amount, which means I'm not going to get to my favorite Astro stack all that often. But if I had my way, if I had I could just pick whatever I wanted, not considering what we have with other stacks, it would be this stack with the Astros here. So I think that looks pretty good for me tonight. And again, Brad, they are my top stack for today. Chris, full stacks not hitting this year like the years past. Yeah, full stacks, if we're talking about hit, will every guy in that lineup hit? Probably not going to happen that often. But the way that I look at it, Chris, is I want to give myself more darts within a lineup that I like. So let's say I've got a dartboard and I'm trying to hit the right batters for the Houston Astros. I'd rather throw a dart 4 times than 3 times because I think the Astros will do well. That means that I want to give myself more opportunities to hit the right guys, more opportunities to hit the dartboard with these guys. I have a better chance of doing so with 4 darts than 3. I'm bad at darts, so 4 doesn't actually help me that much, but I'd rather have 4 swipes at it than 3. So although you're going to have guys who don't do well within your stacks, like a full team stack, you're going to have guys who drag it down a bit. I still think you should keep on doing it because you're just giving yourself more opportunities in good matchups, good hitting situations, because that's where we want to stack. So that's the way I view it. I know it can get like annoying at times when we don't have everyone necessarily hit, but I think that is the optimal way to play things still. The data says Kenyatta Storin did a good piece for numberFire last year before the 2020 season, looking in the data, like actual data about like average points scored on FanDuel based on the number of the players you had in the stack. A 4-player stack was the most optimal combination. No matter what you had for your second stack, having 4 guys in the first one is always best. So it's frustrating. I totally understand. Know where you're coming from. I've felt those frustrations for sure in the past, but hashtag TTP, man. Trust that process. I think that will play out in the long term to be a good thing for you. Let's talk about some pitchers here. Outside of Jack Flaherty, I mentioned Morton and Manaea as being the top value plays. I also do like Trevor Rogers. The reason that I can't say love Trevor Rogers, despite the fact that he looks like an absolute monster on my sheet, is the pitch count. We got the pitch counts here, 77, 82, 95, 82, 85, 77. That's not a fluke. That is intentional. He is on an innings limit for this year. I think it's 150, according to Craig Mish over on Sports Grid. That is that's going to put a cap on things. Like, I don't think he's going to put 60 points on the board, whereas some guys can. I do still think that he is a worthwhile option. I have him number 2, but we have to downgrade him as a result of the fact that he's probably not going to go 9 innings. So Rogers still a good play, but I do downgrade him as a result of that. I think Rodon's in play. I'm okay with using him, but I would go with Rogers number 2 behind Flaherty. Yosh, looking at Suter's numbers, looks like he's due for a pummeling. Miami hits lefties. Is he just too good at ground balls, or is Miami in play? So it's actually a bullpen game for today for the Brewers. On the sheet, I just have bullpen. The numbers on here are Suiters. So like it's kind of weird to have bullpen, faceless, nameless bullpen pitching for the Brewers. I think that because the Brewers bullpen is a strength of that team, usually I'm okay stacking against bullpen games because they just have a lot of dudes who are really good. You got the Airbender, you got Josh Hader. Like you've got some dudes who are there who can definitely light it up. That's scary to me. So I would not be super inclined to use the Marlins. I guess the numbers I have here on the Marlins are them against lefties. They do have a lot of lefties in that pen, but overall, I wouldn't look too much into Suter's numbers. They'll probably be out there for, I think the projection is like 35 pitches for Suter for tonight. That's probably where I'd sit. So no Marlins for me, just because that bullpen is really good. DJ, Shogo Akiyama or Billy McKinney? Okay, so the Reds, I think they're playing early, aren't they? No, they're not. Okay, so they're actually on the main slate. All right, I'm an idiot. Akiyama batting 9th for them today, in there partly because of the Joey Votto injury. McKinney, let's scroll down here. Is that lineup out yet? Let's see what the salary is here on McKinney. Okay, so he actually isn't there. He is... No. He's facing Rogers, so no. Hard pass there. Neither. Definitely neither. Is Andujar actually in the player pool? Because DJ was asking about Andujar. Oh, he is. Okay, so I was wondering if he'd be in there because he just got the callback. So welcome back, Miguel Andujar. Batting 8th, I'd prefer him over both those options. If you're looking for a min salary guy, those guys, I would also highlight Kyle Garlick. Most likely going to back cleanup or 5th or so for the Twins for today, facing a lefty. I know it's a bad weather situation, so don't go too crazy with Garlick, but he's minimum salary, has a little bit of pop. So if we're ranking, like, if you just want like a true minimum salary option for today, I go Garlick 1 and Duhar 2. No consideration for me for Akiyama or for McKinney, but I'd rather go Akiyama over McKinney because Plesac allows balls in play, and Trevor Rogers is like a cyborg, so that's not going to happen. So Garlick is the best value play for today, and Duhar probably second. I haven't seen Twins lineup yet. I'm probably guessing they're waiting to see what the status is of Buxton before they release that one. So we'll hold off on that one there. Look at the Yankees here. Another good value play. Clint Frazier, I believe, is $2,100 or $2,200. I think that works as well, given I think that Corbin is someone we could stack against. He's gone back to his slider, which is something that, the reason I stacked against him against the Cardinals is because he wasn't using his slider. That did not work out. It was actually very terrible. I think it was 6 shutout innings, so good job by me. That was very stupid. even with that slider used being back up, still hasn't done a whole lot. So I think the Yankees are an option. Stanton, Judge, obviously, Gleyber Torres hitting the ball better recently. I think that Frazier works well. If you want a value play, I'd prefer him over Andujar. Andujar obviously has been down more so because of defense and offense, but still prefer Frazier over him for today. Yoshi, I didn't know it was a bullpen game. It is kind of tough to try to figure out what will happen there. I look at overall bullpen strength generally to try to judge that. It is going to be heavily weighted towards like the middle reliever type guys. So I would say take whatever their overall active roster bullpen numbers are, juice that up a bit to account for the fact that they'll largely be middle relievers and go based on that. But yeah, Marlins do get downgraded as well of it being a bullpen game for today. That is all the time that we have for today here on the FanDuel Fantasy Q&A. Pretty fun slate, a lot of good options, some pretty solid value plays, good stacks, and good pitchers. So should be a fun one for sure. Back here once again next week, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you are subscribed there to get notifications as we go live each and every day. If you have additional questions for me, I am on Twitter at Jim Sannes, JIMSANNES. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone. Big thank you to Joy Affleck, our video producer, for running the video side of things here today. Thank you, Joy, as always. And thank you to everyone for tuning in. Hope you all have a great weekend. We'll talk to you once again on Monday. This has been the FanDuel Fantasy Q&A.